Hi, Heidi Easley here, and I am so excited that you are taking the Paint Party Challenge. Now, this is going to be so fun because I'm going to teach you how to paint this painting, and not only how to paint it, but how to have a practice party with your family and friends. So there's no pressure at all. You can just learn to paint this with me today, here in the next few minutes, and then teach this to a few of your friends and family members. So I am so happy you're here. Thank you for being here. And I want you to just raise your right hand and repeat after me, okay? I promise not to judge my painting or my neighbor's painting until the very end. Okay, that's usually what I say at the start of my paint parties because I want you to not take this so seriously. Okay, so take a big deep breath. Grab your favorite cup of coffee or your favorite whatever. I have a great cup of coffee here. And then also we're gonna get some paints. Now you can use any colors you want. So if you already have colors, you don't need these colors. However, if you wanna get the exact ones that I have, I'm gonna hold them up so you can screenshot them. So get ready, get your screenshot ready, or get a pen and paper and you can write it down. All right, on your mark, get set. Dragon fruit, sizzling pink, wild orchard, cadmium yellow, orange flame, true blue, and black and white. Okay, and then of course I always say bring glitter, okay? Glitter is your friend. All right, so here's what we're gonna do first. I'm gonna walk you through how to do this just so you know what to expect over the next 30 minutes together. And I'm gonna walk you exactly how to do this with no tracers so that you can just grab some brushes, some paints. If you don't have the exact paints, just use what you have. And then we are going to have some fun and paint together. Okay, sound good? All right, let's do this. Okay, so I went ahead and put all the paint that I just said on my plate. So everything's ready to go. And what I'm gonna start with is a little bit of this electric. Now this is I love it. It's a neon paint. Okay. So I'm going to grab this neon paint and just put it on my 1-inch brush. And I'll also be talking a little bit about where to buy supplies, things like that as well. So I want to go about a third. You know, if we broke this into threes, or I mean, actually just a little bit under half, but it again does not matter that much if it's not exact. So I'm just going to draw me a line about right here. And then all I'm going to do is fill this in with pinks, this electric pink, or I'm sorry, what was it called? Sizzling. It's a neon sizzling pink. And I'm going to fill that in all along here. And then I'm going to start to add in my dragon fruit. Okay, so I've got dragon fruit plus my sizzling pink, and I'm just going to start to bring that in. So we're just working on the bottom half here. All right, so a little bit of the dragon fruit kind of on the edges here. And then we're going to dip back into that bright and start bringing it in there. So this is just a very simple way to blend. I have a little bit of some debris in this one. I think it's a piece of hair. I don't know. We're just gonna paint it in and have some texture. We're just gonna paint it in with there. And then as we get to about here, I'm gonna keep my messy brush and I'm gonna use a little bit of that orange. So I'm just grabbing that orange with the same messy brush and I'm gonna start bringing it here. So grabbing that orange, same messy brush, bringing it here. We're just getting it on there. Like that. Okay, so we're going to leave this bottom part. We're going to let it dry a little bit and leave that bottom part so we can add some purples and some blues. So let's leave that there for a minute. Now let's go ahead and rinse our brush. So if you have, you know, I just reuse all the time, the same cut, you know, the same cups forever. I just reuse them. So go ahead and just rinse it. Get your brush down there where basically you're just washing the brush's hair. So I just kind of wash the brush's hair and then get most of the paint out. So a lot of times at your Already got some on me. Yay. And a lot of times at your paint parties, you'll have people that want to have new paint water. I always just try to like say, oh, it's okay. We don't need to wash it on this step, or we do. That way they know that, you know, it doesn't have to be new paint water every time, or that's all you're going to spend your time doing. Okay, the next step, we're going to add in, see this little soft orange color? So I'm going to use this orange with a little bit of white, and I'm going to blend it together, as you can see here. So I'm just pulling that on my paint plate, a little bit of orange and a little bit of white. And then I'm just going to get it about right in here. So we're just getting this horizon line. So I can be dipping back and forth for my orange and my white, and just getting right in here about this horizon line. And remember, you are taking the paint party challenge, which, by the way, congrats. If you've already made it this far, you've made it further than most people will. I always tell my daughter, I'm like, if you want to succeed in life, really just do the things you say you're going to do. You really don't have to go that above and beyond, because most of the world is not. And I don't say that to be rude. I say that because it's so true. If you just do the things you say you're going to do, you are going to stand out above the crowd. And so if you want to start a paint party business, that's kind of the cool part about this is I'm just challenging you to teach one of your friends, one of your family members for no charge. Just learn this and then teach them at your house with a great glass of wine or a cup of coffee or whatever. But just get your feet wet, see how you like it. But that's kind of the cool part about this is there's no pressure, no pressure. I'm going to add a little bit of this orange and see how I'm kind of taking it and doing almost like a figure eight. Isn't that cool? You kind of do a figure eight like this, it starts to blend it in there. So just make sure your line's right here. It's not bad if it's not perfect, because we're going to add in black on top. Okay, now I want to take some of that yellow we had earlier. I'm not rinsing my brush, but I definitely want to get some of this yellow in here. So I'm just kind of taking it almost like I'm doing X's, little bits of X's. Okay, so just X right up here. And then let's go ahead and grab that hot pink again, that real bright hot pink. And again, you've noticed I did not rinse. Oopsie. I think Dolly's been splattered. Yep, Dolly's got some splatter on her. It's okay. Now we're going to have a little bit of this hot pink right here. And we're just adding it in. All right, just a little bit on that side and a little bit on this side. So hopefully this is kind of, you're starting to realize like it does not have to be exact. It's actually okay if it's not exact. And again, I wanted to teach you a painting that you didn't have to worry about trying to print a tracer. You know, we have tons of designs where you print tracers and do things like that. But I wanted to just give you an easy design where you don't even have to worry about printing a tracer, anything like that. So I'm excited to see what your painting turns out to look like. And if you follow me on Instagram at Texas Art and Soul _ make sure you send me a picture of your finished one. So just say, hey, I took the paint party challenge and here's my sunset. And then if you send the photo, I'll know to click on that to see what you did. And a lot of times I'll share those on my stories. Okay, so I've rinsed my brush. Okay, now I'm going to grab, oh, did I miss the purple? Hold on. Can't forget Wild Orchid. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to take the Wild Orchid and put it on here. And as you can see, this painting does have quite a few colors. This is not the norm for all of my paintings. A lot of times for my paint parties, you can see it's just a few colors. So here's an example for one of our very, very top selling paintings. It's just a few colors. It's not a ton, but again, I know this one has quite a few colors in it, and that's okay. Sometimes we'll have more, sometimes we'll have less, but I wanted something that would be really exciting to you and really fun, so you can see that you can do this. I'm going to just take that Wild Orchid. I'm just going to go up here and start to do those X's again. So Wild Orchid with these X's on all the way kind of across. And it's okay if a little bit of that pink gets in there. That's okay. It's not a big deal. Okay, and now I'm going to grab that blue. I'm going to take my same brush. We have not changed brushes this whole time. I'm going to take this blue and start to add it in here. I hope you have some great music on right now. I hope that you have a great cup of coffee. Always set your environment when you paint something, whenever you're creating something, always set your environment. It's so important to do that. And it just makes life so much more fun. There's nothing more exciting when I know, oh my gosh, today I get to go work in my art studio and work on paintings for paint parties. I can put on some great music and just create. So make sure you set that environment for yourself. Okay, I'm going to go back to that purple. So I'm not rinsing my brush. I'm just going to go back to that purple and just add a little bit here and then just a little bit over here. Now, if your orange is still wet, either hit it with a quick, hair dryer or a heat gun, or just let it dry for a minute and then go on top of it. So I'm going to take a little bit of that purple and then a little bit of that blue and just get this color kind of filled in down here. Okay, so we're just getting a little bit, go back to that purple if we want a little bit more, and then we can just let it dry for a minute. Okay, while that's drying, I'm going to teach you a fun thing that you can do on the sides of your canvas. See how you can just wrap them with the same colors. So using that same brush, you can take the same color palette and literally just wrap your canvas. So when it's hanging, it doesn't look like it needs to be framed. Isn't that cool? So you can add that on there just by going through and painting the sides here. I'll show you a quick way to do that. It's pretty easy. Again, I'm just going to rinse my brush real fast. I'm going to grab my pinks and I'm just going to have them fly over the side here. Okay, so I got my pinks on that side. And then I'm going to grab a little bit over here and just pretty much wherever they're at. Now I can go to orange, pinks, and as long as it's close to that color, it's fine. So I don't stress too much about it being perfect. I just kind of get it on there so then it starts to have a frame and you don't have to worry about framing it. Let's get these edges. And what we're going to do next is we're going to add the sun in the middle so it can be drying before we add our palm tree. And like I said, this is a very just quick painting. If you're, if I'm going too fast for you, you can anytime you want, you can pause this. There should be, because you signed up for this free challenge, you should have an email right now in your inbox that shows that you can grab and maybe save this, like bookmark it to your desktop so you can watch this. And here's the thing I do want to challenge you with. Try to make sure you paint it sooner than later, because what happens is time goes by. It was like, oh, that was something I wanted to do. And I promise you, if you do this and then you accept the challenge and you teach a couple of people at your house for no charge, just to get your feet wet, you're going to be so surprised with what you end up doing, and who knows what kind of creative life that can lead. And I'll talk to you in a minute about how I went from bankrupt to business owner before the age of 30 and how paint parties have totally changed my life. I'll share a little bit about that story here in just a second, but it's crazy what can happen. So don't discount the small acts that you're going to take right now. And there's this quote somebody said, it said, there's somebody out there less qualified doing what you want to do right now, and they're making money at it. So think about that. There's people out there right now that are way less qualified than you are, and they're already making money doing what you want to do. So don't discount yourself. There's so much that you could be doing right now. Okay, so I'm going to take this next step. Now here's our horizon line. I'm going to use a little bit of the yellow with a little bit of the white just to kind of get this color. And then all I'm going to do is just basically do a frowny face, which is also known as the sun for this part of it. So I'm just going to frowny face. And if I didn't make it big enough, I can just kind of go like this because I want to make it a little bit wider. And then I'm gonna fill that in. So that's with white and yellow. And what brush am I using? The big brush. I'm using the big brush. We have not changed brushes this whole time. Okay, a lot of times people ask, well, where do I get my canvas? Where do I get my brushes? So this brush right here, and we have some cool resources inside Paint Party headquarters, which if you don't know what Paint Party headquarters is, it's where I teach you how to make money teaching paint parties and provide hundreds of paintings and tracers and marketing, everything you need for your paint party business. Basically, I was a teacher for 10 years, and then I was teaching paint parties on the side, and, this is what I needed. This is basically what I needed. So, what I recommend for canvas is go to Michael's. You can get these 7 packs of canvas. This is an 11 by 14. These are always on sale. Anytime around the holidays, make sure you do you need to screenshot this? Okay, get ready. Okay, so those are always around the holidays. You can go grab those. As far as brushes, I just recommend, when you're starting, just go to Michael's or use the brushes in your studio. Don't worry so much. As you can see, we've painted almost this whole thing now with just a 1-inch flat. Okay, so after that's on there, we're gonna let that dry for a second. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And I want to go ahead and let this dry for just a second. I want to tell you a quick story about bankrupt to business owner. So that was my family. Basically, we went bankrupt. We lost everything. It sucked like bad. I remember thinking life is so, so hard. And so what happened was I was using art to heal. Let me know if you've ever used art to heal. I was using art to heal, and I started painting these little mini surfboards. And I, was like, okay, we can, hopefully get out of this. I had this so much feeling of shame, so much feeling of sadness, and I was a teacher, and so I started bringing these little surfboards to the school to paint with them. And so I would paint these surfboards on my lunch break or after school, and the kids started seeing them. Now, at the time, I was teaching 850 students a week in Florida, and I was like, oh my gosh, every time a kid would come in, they'd go, Miss Easley, put my name on it. Miss Easley, can you put my name on it? And I go, oh, no, that's just something I'm working on. And they'd be like, no, Miss Easley, for real, can you put my name on it? And about after the 150th kid asked, I was like, light bulb, maybe this is something I can do to help get my family out of this situation, this financial situation that we were in. And so I called my mother-in-law and I was like, hey, I think I have an idea. And we ended up, working out a deal with Pier Park, which if you've ever been to Pier Park in Panama City Beach, Florida, it is awesome. If you've never been there, you should go. We rented like a 10 by 10 square foot of concrete right in front of Starbucks, and they were going to let us set up. And my mother-in-law knew we didn't have any money. So she was like, hey, let's go 50-50. I'll front the cost. And so we had my whole family roped in. We were still on these surfboards, and I was going to hand paint them. Well, I get ready to set up, and I am so excited. I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, this is my plan B. Like, this is going to be okay. Life is going to be okay. I was hopeful. I was excited of the new possibility of what could happen. Then nobody buys, like nobody. I am sitting there in the heat in Florida. It is hot. And I'm like, why is nobody buying my surfboards? Like, this is supposed to be my second chance. And so my mother-in-law senses my frustration, and she's like, because what do you do when you've lost everything? You have nowhere to go. You go to Buffalo Wild Wings and you have a drink at the bar. So we walk across the street to Buffalo Wild Wings. My husband's watching the booth, and I'm like, man, life is hard. Like, this sucks, and then another drink in, and I'm like, this is not okay. I'm starting to freak out. This was my plan B. It's not working. What am I going to do? And then my husband calls, and everything changes. He says, Heidi, get over here. We have orders. And I'm like, you're lying. He's like, no, get over here. We have orders. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I look at my mother-in-law. She's like, go, go, go. And so I tipsily walk across the street. It was right there across the street. And I look at my husband, and he's got like all these papers, he's holding all these paper tickets, and he's like, get to painting. And it was all orders. It was this huge stack of orders. And in that moment, I had been flat on my face, like done for, like life is hard, count me out, this is awful. And then it was like God scooped me up. And not only did He say, it's going to be okay, He said that you're going to be able to do what you love forever, which is paint. And so I painted and smiled and laughed, and we went on in just 2 months to paint. This person who took a year to paint one painting, I was the slowest painter on the planet. I ended up painting over 1,000 surfboards in less than 2 months, making over $20,000 for my family. And so what taught me during that bankruptcy was that there is so much potential and so many more chances. We think that we only get one chance to succeed in finances, or now I'm not good enough or worthy enough, and that's not true. Like, God gives us second chances, third chances, fourth chances, 20th chances. And I think that's the power and the lesson that I learned going through such a financial trouble is that it's okay, you can come back, and there is life after bankruptcy, and God has a plan, and He's seeing us through all of it. So I think the power in that is just knowing that now I look back and I smile, and I know it sounds crazy, but it taught me and my family so much, and I'm forever grateful for it. So again, paint parties, we did a much needed move back to Texas, where we're from, and it was a little harder to sell surfboards in North Dallas. So we started at paint parties again. I've been teaching paint parties for over 17 years. And so we started teaching paint parties again, and they kind of took over my teaching career. And now I am so thankful I get to teach you how to make money teaching paint parties, while I still actively teach paint parties this day, even now. So yeah, this is a painting I'm getting ready for one of my paint parties as well. So I hope this story inspired you. I hope it helped you. And let me know, send me a comment or, a message. Let me know what's going on in your world. You can always send me an email at support@texasartandsoul.com. And I would love to know if there's been like a defining moment in your life that you can see God's hand in it. That would be awesome. I would love to hear your story. Okay, so we have our sun here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the same big brush, and I'm going to grab some black paint. And this right here, if you're nervous using the bigger brush, you can go to a smaller, but I find if I get the bristles on there just right, I can just kind of go right on top and make me a line. Okay. So it kind of makes the line pretty easy. Now I am going to switch to my liner brush for a minute. And all I'm going to do is just add in some mountains. So nothing serious at all. Just adding in a few mountains. And then I'm going to go over on this side and do the same thing. All right, so if you didn't get them exactly how you want them, you could always kind of change them up. And then you're just going to fill them in. You're just going to fill them in right here. Now, here's one of the things that I think people forget when they are teaching people paint parties. I don't know about you, but there is nothing more exciting in life than being hopeful, having something to look forward to. When I first started teaching paint parties, and the money is great, it's serious money. Paint party money is serious money, I like to say. I think it's the funniest thing when somebody's like, "Oh, your cute little art business." And I'm like, I just made $200, $300 in a couple of hours. Like, it's not a cute little art business. I mean, it is cute, but there's some serious money in paint party money. If you were to teach this to 10 people at $35 a person, you're looking at $350 before your expenses. And in the paint party world, its expenses are not that much. It's more of a service. And so what I want you to really hear as you're learning today is, of course, you're taking the challenge of just not charging, just teaching a couple of people around your dining room table, no pressure, nothing. But what I love about life and about starting something, or maybe you've been doing this and you've needed a re-energizing about this, right? What I love is the excitement of what can happen, the friendships that can be formed. That's one of the coolest things that sometimes we discount. Sometimes we think it's all about money, but what about the friendships we have? What about the excitement of getting a party together? What about all of the other things that come with this? Sometimes people, choose to teach a paint party just because they're wanting to get out of the house and talk to other adults. Maybe you're, in mommy mode and you're always with your kids, which is a great thing, but sometimes we just want adult conversation, don't we? So there's so many reasons why people would teach a paint party. Okay, so now that we have this on here, I'm going to show you the next step, which I love. Okay, so I'm going to take you guessed it, my big brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of the black paint. I'm just going to get it loaded on both sides so it's good and thin. See how it's good and thin? Now, all you want to do is kind of get a placement. So maybe I want my palm tree almost like right here's the sun. So what I want to do is kind of get a placement just a little bit above where I'm going to have my palms. So let's just put us a line right here for the palms. It's going to be the middle of where the palm tree is, okay? The middle. Now what I want to do is just kind of place my brush like this and just bring it down into here. So I'm going to move this over here so you can really see it. All I'm going to do is take it and just kind of swoop it. So you want your swoop to be more over here. And then all I'm going to do is reload that brush. And then this part, I do want you to be a little cautious with. Remember on a tree, you start here and then it starts to go a little bigger, but you can always go bigger later. So don't go too big right now, okay? So I want you to keep it thin, keep it small, but you can make it a little bit wider at the end. But remember, don't go crazy and make it this giant trunk. Palm trees are really skinny for the most part. And then we're just going to fill that in. So just take our brush and fill this in. Just like that. All right, and just fill this whole thing in. And then this next part is really fun. Okay, ta-da! Oh, my nose itches. All right, coffee break. Cheers to you. Okay, now we're going to place our palm fronds. I think that's the word. I'm not real sure. So we're going to grab it. And what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to place one right there. Now, before we get started, I need you to take a deep breath. This part is not going to look pretty at the beginning. I promise you. It's going to look weird. You're going to judge your palm fronds. But remember what we said at the beginning? I promise not to judge my painting or my neighbor's painting until the very, very end. So please do not judge it until the very, very end. Then you can judge away, but don't judge until the very, very end. Painting is all about adding layers. And when I was painting this, I was like, man, it looks like a spider. What's going on? Before I started adding all the details, it did not look cute. Okay, so I'm just warning you right now. You may think yours looks like a spider, and you may think mine looks like a spider, but don't judge the spider. Deal? Pinky promise? Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna load up our brush. We have the first one here. We're gonna take this one and just do like a little swoop. All right, if this brush is hard for you to use, you can always go back to the liner brush. I just find it's easier, or even a paint pen. Draw it on there if you want. This one's going to go like this. I told you it's going to look like a spider. That one's going to kind of cover over there, almost like a fun little windmill. Okay, this one is a little bit tricky. It's going to go up and then it's going to go down. Okay. It's not a curve. It's just a up and down. This one's going to do kind of the same thing, over and then down. Over and down. And then this one is a little trickier too. It's going to go down and then straight down. And it's going to cross over that water. So it looks like a spider, a missing leg spider. Okay. Now I'm excited because this next part is really fun. Okay, so if you want to take a smaller brush, you can, but I'm going to show you with, you guessed it, the big brush. Okay, so right here, all I'm going to do is just shoot up a few lines. So you can see it real close. Just shoot up a few lines. These are our palm fronds, just like that. Okay, now on the next one, I'm going to take this, and you can watch here, and I'm just going to kind of curve it out. Isn't that fun? So fun. So I'm going to load it up again. If I need a few more, and I'm just letting them kind of feather. Okay, on this one, I'll show you here. I'm going to feather it down. So just a little, so go a little bit smaller here. And then as you start to go, feather it. And this does take a little practice, and that's okay. I think in today's society, we think if we don't do something perfect from the very beginning, we can't be good at it. And that is so untrue. You should have seen my palm trees at the beginning of my painting. Not good, very, very bad. But it just gets easier and easier as you practice. Okay, we're going to load it up again. Now, this one, we're just going to do a few little. And it's kind of curving in that same curve. It's a few little ones. Remember, you're not judging. We have a little spider. We're not judging our spider. This one, we're going to do a few little ones like this. And then bringing this down. So fun. We're going to load up again. This one right here, we're going to take it and just do some small little ones. And then once we start to get close to this, we'll just bring it down a little bit like that. And then for this last one, we're going to take it and just do a few little lines here, let them curve over and kind of bring it down a little bit like that. Okay, so now while this is drying, we're going to add a little white to where the sunrise is going, or the sunset, whatever. I think this is the sunset. We're going to add a little bit of our white in here. So let me rinse the brush real quick. So we've talked about easy supplies, getting canvas from, Michael's on sale. We've also talked about getting brushes, using the brushes you have at home. As far as paint goes, we've already done screenshots of all the paint. Again, when I first started, I used the 50-cent craft, apple barrel paint from Walmart. I'm all about teaching you a profit every party. But honestly, this whole paint party challenge, and we're almost finished. Congrats, by the way. And this whole paint party challenge is literally about you painting something and then having your spouse or your kid or your grandkid and just teaching them to paint, having a good cup of coffee or a glass of wine with your friend, and then just teaching them to paint at your kitchen table. No pressure, just getting your feet wet. That is the biggest hurdle that most people face, is they want to do this. They want to make great money. They want to be able to pay for a road trip or a cruise or a Christmas, whatever, but they can't get that first step. And so I wanted to take away all the barriers and just give you this challenge where you just paint with me, no tracers, nothing. And then you just teach a friend or a family member. So, and make it simple, because nothing is going to give you more confidence than when you have done this and then you can show somebody else how to do this. It's pretty powerful. Okay, now I'm going to grab my round brush with some white paint. And this is all you're going to do is just kind of add in here. Honestly, I was supposed to add this before the palms, so I apologize. So when you're doing this, reverse. Do this part before you add the black palms. All right, because I am having to go a little bit between them. It's not the end of the world if you didn't know. All right, we're just kind of adding that in there. See how simple that is? Just getting you a couple of white lines. And then I like to kind of make the bottom of the white lines a little bit where they're going more like that. Okay, so we kind of have our white, and you can add more too. You can see on here how I just kind of go crazy and I make those white lines really pop. Okay, now that we have that, we're gonna let our black palms dry for a minute, and then we're gonna add some white highlights to it. And I'm so excited to just show you how to finish this off. I wanted to take a quick moment to share too. Look at how this same painting can be a couple's painting. So isn't that cool? This same painting could be a couple's painting, which I think is really fun. So you can take it and make it into just a simple painting where it's just one like this, but moving the sun in the middle. Or you can make it into like a couple's painting, which I think is really cool and really valuable. As this is drying, I'm going to hit it with a heat gun. And I want to just share with you a little bit about Paint Party Headquarters. Paint Party Headquarters is where I teach you how to make money teaching paint parties. And I give you hundreds of designs to use with marketing flyers. Everything's done for you. So as a teacher, that was one of the biggest challenges, was trying to work full time and come up with the newest on-trend paintings, trying to get all of my marketing, my flyers done. So we actually have it all done for you. So think of you being a substitute teacher, for example, and that's kind of how I like to explain it. If you're coming in as a substitute teacher and everything's done for you, and then you just have to teach the class, that's what we have inside Paint Party Headquarters. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab the big brush again, some white paint. I'm going to load it up just like this. And then what I'm going to do is right here on this side, just do a white line on the right side of the palm. Okay, white line. And this is where things start to kind of pop. Then I'm just going to take this. I don't need a lot of white. And you can see here, we just kind of add in a little bit. So all I'm going to do is just start to add in just a hint. Just what we did, but just a hint. So just a couple of lines here. And then I'm going to reload my brush. Just a few lines in here. And once you really get to practicing this, this painting will take you no time. It's a very fast painting when you start to really learn and practice it. And then another thing I want to remind you is you are teaching people, and I'm just going to put a little bit, like just a couple of lines right here. Ta-da. Oh, that's too many. I put a lot. It's okay though. I can take my black and just kind of cover it a little bit. I'm just going to take my little brush and just kind of add a little bit. I didn't want that much. There we go. So there we have it. So that's totally done. But what I wanted to share with you is that you can, when I teach paint parties, one of the other big things that people get nervous about is that everybody's going to be staring at them, making sure that they're the perfect artist. And here's what I have learned over nearly 2 decades of teaching paint parties is they are coming in and they are nervous. So I remember teaching Starry Night one time, and it was about 20, 25 people. And I was so nervous. I had like handwritten stuff, and it was behind the easel so nobody could see. And I would like sneak over and look and see the next step. As I was so nervous, I took a second to look at the crowd, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're only staring at their paintings. They want to make sure that what they are doing is okay. And so that was a big eye opener for me that made me realize that people are wanting your help. So instead of me feeling like the superstar, oh, look what I can paint. Instead, I started sharing the first step and then walking around and helping people. And that is so much more powerful than you not talking to people and going, step 1, step 2, step 3. So most of the time, I never finish a painting in my paint parties. And people are like, that is crazy, but it's true. I have been teaching paint parties for nearly 2 decades, and usually I never finish a painting in a paint party because I'm helping other people the whole time. So I'll tell a step, walk around and help. Tell a step, walk around and help. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you so many things. We went over pinky promises. We went over you painting your new beautiful painting. And then your challenge, which you have accepted, is for you to now teach this to a friend or a family member around your kitchen table. Don't charge, just literally get your feet wet so you can take the next step. I am so excited for you, and thank you for taking this free paint party challenge. If you want to get some free gifts and also be a part of Paint Party Headquarters, we do have something really special for you. This is called a lookbook, a Paint Party lookbook. And we actually will mail this to you when you join Paint Party Headquarters. And it has some of our most sellable designs in here where you can actually use them for whatever season it is. And this is going to be available when you join Paint Party Headquarters. So if you want to learn more, have access to hundreds of designs and marketing and Q&A with me and so many things, check it out below. We would love to help you. All right, so till next time, keep painting. Cheers. And I cannot wait to see where your paint party adventure takes you. Thank you for trusting me, and thank you for spending your time with me. Until next time.